The 80s San Francisco 49ers were the pinnacle of success in the NFL, and they won 4 Super Bowls in the decade. They had some of the most legendary players of all time, and they introduced the West Coast offense that is the single most influential scheme we have ever seen, and it has had an incredible impact on the way the game is played even to this day. Now, the Niners had 4 main stars that were the backbone of their scheme, and we will be looking at each of them and how they were utilized to create a dynasty. The first is the architect of it all, Bill Walsh. He was the creator of the West Coast offense, and he is what brought it to the mainstream. And his laundry list of accomplishments is incredible, but maybe his most amazing is when you look at his coaching tree and you can see just how far his scheme has reached. But what is the West Coast offense? Well, it is an offensive system that revolutionized the NFL by emphasizing short, quick, high percentage passes to move the ball methodically down the field. The West Coast offense aims to stretch the defense horizontally, creating open spaces for skilled players to exploit. Precision, timing, and accuracy are crucial for quarterbacks, while the versatility and route running of running backs, tight ends, and wide receivers are essential components. Then formationally, the Niners of this era would run a ton of split back offense with 2 running backs on each side of the QB, and they would use these players a ton in the pass game. And to replicate that, we will be using the near and far formations in the West Coast Playbook. And then this is actually all part of a bigger scheme I am creating, where I break down 5 offenses from the NFL's golden era. This ran from the mid 80s to the late 90s, and each of them is going to be run out of the West Coast Playbook so they can all be used together, and the playlist for the whole scheme will be down in the description. Then the next star of this offense was the quarterback with Joe Montana, also known as Joe Cool. He was the ideal quarterback for Bill Walsh's West Coast offense. Montana's exceptional decision-making skills, lightning fast release, and pinpoint accuracy, and remarkable poise under pressure were all crucial factors in the success of the Niners during the 80s. His ability to quickly scan the field and find the open receiver allowed the offense to function at its highest level. Now, a huge component of this offense was the timing of the routes and the quarterback's drops. They would perfectly sync up with each other, making it so as soon as Montana hit the back of his drop, the ball would come out to the receiver, breaking at that precise moment. And we are going to be breaking down all the different drop types we will use in this video. Now, the first QB drop type we are going to look at is be a quick 3-step drop, and as soon as he hits his back foot, the ball comes out. These are designed to be super quick hitters, and the West Coast offense use them to steal the yards the defense is giving them because of pre-snap alignment or coverage. And the Niners would also use this quick 3-step drop pass game as a substitute for their run game. The 3-step concept we are looking at is Omaha in Far Pro, and this is a super common play that Montana and Walsh would utilize a ton to pick up easy yards underneath. Now, for this play out of the huddle, we want the tight end to the wide side, and first we want to identify the coverage. And if it's single high off coverage with the corner, then we're going to think cover 1 and cover 3. Now, if this is the case, the 2 outside receivers are going to run quick outs, and against cover 3, the flat defender will be caught too far inside, and the deep blue will be playing back, and you can fire it in underneath for an easy completion every single time. Then against man off coverage, the corner will be too far back, and as soon as you hit your back foot on that 3-step drop, fire it out to your receiver breaking to the outside for another easy pickup. Now, if the out routes aren't open or the option route turns into a streak down the field that isn't open, then you can attack the middle of the field with your tight end on a slant route. Then your check down on this play is your release route from your running back, and if nothing is open deep or you're getting pressure, you can drop it down to him and let him make a play with the ball in his hands. Now, for a Walsh coaching key on this play, against 2 high coverages, now your option route on the outside is going to turn into a streak and run up the field. So against cover 2, the corner will jam him, but then he will let him continue up the field in behind him, and as soon as he clears him, you can drop it in down the field for a big pickup. But we actually want to make one adjustment to make this play work. So if we get 2 high safeties pre-snap, we actually want to put our tight end on a streak. Now, when you snap the ball, this tight end is going to run to the safety, and against cover 2, it'll hold him into the middle of the field, and that option route is going to get down the field in behind the corner, and you can fire it in for that big pickup. Next, for 5-step drops, this was the intermediate pass game, and this was much more read orientated, where Joe Cool would go through a progression on the play and look from his first to his second and finally down to his third read, and this was the bread and butter of the West Coast pass game. The first concept we are looking at here is Hank in near pro, and this is one of the most famous plays in the West Coast system. Here we'll have a mirrored concept to both sides with a curl and a flat route, and you can pick the wide side or the short side and just work either one. Now this is designed to attack cover 3, and we want to put the flat defender in conflict, and if he stays back on the curl as he sits down, then when your QB hits that 5th step in his drop, then you can just drop it down to the running back in the flat and let him make a play in the open field. But if at the snap the flat defender starts to bite down on the running back, then those 2 curls will hook up at about 12 yards and sit down, and now the deep blue defender will be too deep, and on your 5th step then you can fire it in for a nice pickup. Then lastly on this play, if you see the whole defense widen out to get under the curls and the running backs in the flat, then our third read will be the tight end sit route as he hitches up over the middle, and by the time you hit that 5th step, you should be able to work inside to your third read and fire it in. Then the Niners could still push the ball deeper on these 5-step drops. They would utilize deeper posts and corners, and Montana would sync these routes up with his drops, and he could use them to gain some explosive gains down the field. The next 5-step drop play we are going to be looking at is X spot in far tight slot. Here have your 2 receivers to the wide side, then take your running back, motion him out, and put him on a streak. The next Walsh coaching key here is motioning running backs out wide was a huge part of the 49ers offense. Utilizing these motions can create mismatches and unique formations that would put a ton of pressure on defenses, and we will be utilizing these same techniques in our scheme. Then once we snap the ball, we want to check the wide side of the field, and we're going to have this deep post with the clear out route, and if the flat defender stays down, we're also going to have a runoff route pulling out the deep blue defender, and you can fire this in for a big game once you hit your 5th step. Then if the deep corner is taken away, especially if the user leaves the middle to run with it, then we want to move inside to our second read with the deep post, and this will get in behind the linebackers but stay in front of the safeties, and once you get to the back of your drop on your 5th step, then you can come off your corner out, hit the post over the middle for a big pickup. Then the third read on this play is the wide receiver sit route over the middle, and if the deep corner is taken away and the linebackers are getting under the post, and we're going to have this wide receiver over the middle for your third read. Then the 7-step drop pass game was the way that the 49ers would get into their deep drops and push the ball down the field. These concepts would have deep go balls and posts working down the field, and Joe Cool had to get deep in his setup, giving these routes time to get up and down the field before he would let it fly for deep shots and explosive gains. Our 7-step drop play is going to be flats in far tight slots, and this is a cover 3 bomb. Here we're going to have 2 receivers to the wide side, then take your running back, motion him out, and put him on a streak just like an X spot. But then we want to block our running back in the backfield to give us extra time. Now this will be a cover 3 bomb, so if we get that post snap, you'll see the middle high safety is going to get held into the middle of the field by the streak route. Then the deep third on the short side will get held down by the crosser, and this deep post will get wide open. And by the time you hit the back of your 7-step drop, you can let this fly and bomb cover 3 deep down the field for a huge 1-play touchdown score. Then if post snap they change up their play call, or the post just isn't open deep down the field, then we can look to the crosser underneath and you can fire it in along the sideline for a big pickup. Then if post snap you are getting pressure, then the check down option on this play is going to be the tight end in the flat. You can drop it down to him at any point for your pressure release valve. Now along with Joe Montana, the other star player for the Niners was Jerry Rice. He was the GOAT wide receiver, and he was the ultimate matchup problem, and he's what brought the wide receiver position to the forefront and helped the NFL world realize that a wideout could be the engine that drove your offense. He could play inside or out, and he could beat you short over the middle or use his speed to take the top off defenses. But his best attribute was his route running ability. If you tried to run man coverage, he would put your corner in a blender and was next to uncoverable in one-on-one matchups. Now in this offense, I'm using the Jerry Rice card, and obviously he is the perfect player for this spot with his good speed and elite route running. So to destroy man coverage and give us easy completions versus man like Jerry, we are going to be using the play Texas in near close flex. Now for this play, come out with your tight end to the wide side, and there are no adjustments on this play. Now this is going to give you 4 great man beating options with this play, but the first we're going to look at is the post over the middle, and as he breaks, he will bust off from his man coverage for a big pickup, and you can rack catch this ball and gain some huge yardage. Now our next Walsh coaching tip on this play, we will be using short and elite or route tech on our tight ends and both receivers. The ability will act activate when we break, and it will work on all 3 of these routes, ensuring all of them will get really good separation, making this play incredibly difficult to stop. Next, we can attack either sideline. So we have our receiver on the wide side breaking out, and he will bust off from his coverage, and you can fire this in right after he breaks for a big pickup. Then on the other side of the field, we also have this tight end on a speed out. And once again, the same thing. He is going to break off from his man, and you can fire it in for an easy pickup. Then lastly, over the middle, we have our running back on a Texas route. And this route will break off from his defender and is a great 4th option over the middle of the field. And with all 4 of these routes working, this is going to be one of the best man beaters you will find anywhere. Then if you want to take this offense to the next level, you need to check out my website, Scheme Kings. Up right now is part 2 of this video, where I'll give you 8 more plays out of this Niners West Coast offense to allow you to make this a complete scheme with the ability to attack and take advantage of any defensive look that you come up against. And there will be a ton more coming up out of this golden era scheme. Then also on the site are all my past schemes, like my NCAA spread offense and my LOB Seahawks defense, and a ton more. Then also on the site, you can get access to my playbooks, which are full written breakdowns for my schemes, with 5 out so far, and my newest being my Pats offense that is 64 pages long, and this is really going to take your game to the next level. Then I'm also running a sale on the site, so use code SPRING at checkout and you will get 50% off your first month, and this is going to run till May 9th. So if you want to check out Scheme Kings, I'll leave a link down in the description below. Then the last member of the Niners Dynasty that was a true standout and difference maker was their running back, Roger Craig. He was a great runner between the tackles, fighting forward and picking up yards, but his real X-factor value for the West Coast offense was his ability to be a receiver out of the backfield. He could catch dump-offs in the flats and be super dynamic with the ball in his hands, or he could split out wide and act like a wide receiver. This made him the ultimate movable chess piece for this offense, and we will be using our running back in the same way. And in my running back spot, I am using Walter Payton, but really you just want to target speed and receiving ability for whoever you use in this spot. The first run we are going to use is going to be HB inside and near pro. This is a simple run, but it is super quick hitting. Your running back is going to get it right away, and you can get downhill in an instant. We also have our fullback as a lead blocker. Let him set up his block, and once he engages with someone, then explode out from behind him and pick up those easy yards that are there. Then the pass play that we will use that really features our running back is going to be Y post in far pro. Here, have your tight end to the wide side and take the running back who's on a Texas route and motion him out of the backfield to the wide side. Then take the wide receiver on the backside of the play and put him on our streak. And finally, put the fullback that's in the backfield on an out route to the wide side. Now, after the snap, we want to look to the wide side, and our key here is going to be the user. We want to make him pick the running back on the corner route or the tight end on the post. And if he stays over the middle with the tight end, the running back will break in behind the flat defender, and you can drop it into him for a huge pickup. Then if after the snap you see the user leave the middle to run with the running back, then we're going to have the tight end on a post, and this is going to be getting to a great area of the field in behind the linebackers for a really nice pickup. Then lastly on this play, the fullback in the flats is the check down. So if nothing is open deep, then drop it down to him underneath and let him make a play in the open field. Now this offense is going to be amazing, but to use it to its full potential, you need to use the right personnel and abilities, and having a deeper understanding of this golden era time in the football world will be huge to learn also. So if you want to check all of that out, you need to watch this video right here.